High Archival Officer Zenra stood motionless before the quantum display, her four eyes fixed on the pulsing red warning that dominated the screen. After 3 centuries of service to the Arxos Collective, she had never encountered anything like this. "Run the scan again," she commanded, her crystalline voice echoing through the vast archive chamber of the Stellar Cartography Division. "4th iteration complete, High Archival Officer," responded the AI. "Results unchanged. Solar System 749-2b remains classified as Sanctuary Zone Alpha. Protection protocols are absolute." Zenra's secondary arms twitched in frustration. The primitive species on the 3rd planet, they called themselves humans, had barely achieved basic spaceflight. Their technology was centuries behind the Collective's. They still fought among themselves over resources their limited capabilities couldn't even properly utilize. By all standard metrics, they should have been classified as a potential protectorate at best, or a candidate for guided advancement at worst. Instead, their entire solar system was marked with the highest protection rating in the known galaxy. "Access historical records," she ordered. "When was this classification implemented?" "Classification predates current archival systems," the AI responded. "Timestamp approximation: 147,000 standard cycles ago." Zenra's primary heart skipped a beat. That was impossible. The Arxos Collective, the most advanced civilization in the known galaxy, had only achieved interstellar travel 50,000 cycles ago. Who could have possibly? Her thoughts were interrupted by a priority alert. A Vraxian battle fleet had just entered the system's outer boundary. The Vraxians, notorious for ignoring galactic conventions when it suited them. "They're going to trigger it," she whispered. The massive Vraxian dreadnought, Eternal Conquest, led its fleet toward the blue-green world, its weapon systems charging. High Commander Vraxtal stood on his command deck, mandibles clicking in anticipation. The protection warnings they'd received were clearly a mistake, or perhaps an attempt by some lesser species to protect a valuable resource world. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "we're detecting unusual energy signatures." "Ignore them," Vraxtal commanded. "Primitive deceptions want." The entire fleet stopped. Not gradually, not with the usual deceleration procedures. They simply stopped. Every ship, every system, every weapon powered down simultaneously. In the archive chamber, Zenra awash with a mixture of horror and fascination as new data flooded her screens. The energy readings were unlike anything in the Collective's databases. They didn't match any known physics. Transmission cut through every communication channel in the sector, broadcasting in perfect fraction. "This is a protected system. Your vessels have been temporarily disabled. You have 30 minutes to power up emergency systems and leave. This is your only warning." The message repeated in every known language, including several that had been extinct for millennia. Vraxtal raged and threatened, but exactly 30 minutes later, emergency power restored itself to his fleet. The Vraxian ships retreated, their mighty dreadnought limping away like a wounded animal. Zenra spent the next several days analyzing the data. The energy signatures defied explanation. The technology that had so easily disabled an entire battle fleet seemed to materialize from nowhere and vanish just as mysteriously. Most puzzling of all, the humans themselves appeared completely unaware of what had happened. She compiled her findings into a report for the Collective Council, knowing it would cause a sensation. But as she prepared to transmit it, a final piece of data caught her attention. During the incident, a single phrase had been briefly encoded in the energy patterns, visible only at the quantum level. The message used a language so ancient only the deepest archives held references to it. It read, "They are not ready yet, but they will be. Until then, they must be protected." Zenra added a personal note to her report. Recommendation: classify humanity as a Level 1 protected species, not because they are primitive, but because they may be something else entirely, something waiting to awaken. As she transmitted the report, She glanced at the holographic image of Earth rotating slowly above her desk. What were you chosen for? She wondered. And by whom? The answer would shake the foundations of galactic society. But that was only the beginning. Supreme War Leader Kextal of the Drachnid Empire paced across the obsidian floor of his command center, his scaled tail lashing with barely contained rage. The holographic displays surrounding him showed the same inexplicable data that had haunted him for the past 3 cycles. The complete failure of every probe and stealth ship sent to infiltrate the human system. Impossible, he snarled, claws clicking against his ceremonial armor. No defense system is perfect. Everything has a weakness. His finest infiltration ships, vessels that could slip through the densest sensor networks in the galaxy, simply disappeared when they crossed certain invisible boundaries around Earth. No debris, no distress signals, just complete cessation of existence. The few that returned reported their systems being commandeered by something that defied their most advanced analysis. My lord, his chief scientist, Valsha, approached cautiously. We've completed analysis of the last attempt. Kextal turned all 4 of his eyes toward her. Show me. The central hologram shifted to display a complex series of energy patterns. The barrier around their system, Valsha explained, it's not technology as we understand it. It appears to be woven into the fabric of space-time itself. We detected quantum signatures that suggest it exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Speak plainly, Kextal growled. Can we break it? Valsha's scales paled slightly. My lord, trying to break this barrier would be like trying to break physics itself. It's not just a defense system. It's as if someone rewrote the fundamental laws of space around their entire solar system. Kextal slammed his fist into a nearby console, shattering its crystalline surface. The humans had resources his empire desperately needed. Their world was perfect for Drachnid colonization. By all rights, they should have been easy prey. Instead, new contact. The sensor officer's alarmed voice cut through his thoughts. Massive energy spike at the system's edge. The holographic display shifted to show a colossal structure seemingly materializing from nowhere. It was beautiful in its complexity, geometric patterns that seemed to fold through dimensions the Drachnid mind could barely comprehend. We're receiving a transmission, the communications officer announced, voice trembling. It's responding to our thoughts before we even send them. A voice filled the command center, speaking perfect Drachnid language, but somehow conveying meanings beyond mere words. Your persistence has been noted. Your intentions have been analyzed. Your presence is no longer welcome. Kextal felt something he hadn't experienced since he was a hatchling. Pure, primal fear. Battle stations, all ships, open. Every system in his mighty flagship shut down simultaneously. Through the viewport, he watched in horror as his entire invasion fleet went dark. Then, impossibly, the ships began to move, not through normal space, but folding somehow, as if space itself was being origamied around them. When power returned, they were back in their home system, billions of light years from Earth. The journey should have taken years. It had happened in moments. In his private quarters later, Kextal reviewed the final sensor logs. Something had been hidden in the transmission, a message encoded so deeply it had taken their best quantum computers days to decode it. They are the seedbed of what comes next. The galaxy has waited eons for their awakening. Your species was judged and found wanting. They will be judged too, in time, but not by you. As Kextal contemplated the message, reports began flooding in from across the Empire. Every star chart, every historical record, every navigational database had been altered. The coordinates for the human system were simply gone. Not erased, but changed on a level so fundamental that it was as if they had never existed in that location at all. The humans would never know how close they had come to invasion. They continued their lives, taking their first tentative steps into space, unaware that they were being watched, protected, and waited for. In the depths of space, Ancient machines that defied comprehension continued their eternal vigil, their purpose clear but their creators long vanished. Humanity would be given the time it needed to become what it was meant to be. Until then, the galaxy would wait, and in a hidden dimension beyond normal spacetime, something stirred, pleased that its chosen species remained safe. The time was coming, but not yet. Not yet. Dr. Elena Santos stood in reverent silence before the holographic reconstruction. The alien ruins on Mars had been hidden beneath the red sands for millions of years, until a routine mining operation stumbled upon them. Now, she and her team of xenorchaeologists were about to make history. "Translation matrix is ready," her AI assistant announced. The glyphs on the ancient wall began to shift, transforming into comprehensible text. Elena's heart raced as she read the first lines. "To those who find this record, we were the precursors. We shaped galaxies and kindled the fires of creation. But our time draws to an end, and we have chosen our successors." The chamber's preservation field hummed softly as Elena moved deeper into the facility. Each step revealed more about the mysterious precursors and their connection to humanity. The walls told a story that defied belief. Millions of years ago, the precursors had achieved technological advancement beyond comprehension. They could manipulate reality itself, transcend physical form, and traverse dimensions. But with all their power, they recognized a fundamental flaw in their own species. They had evolved too quickly, gained power before gaining wisdom. Professor Santos called out Dr. Chen, her colleague. "You need to see this chamber." The central room of the facility contained a massive quantum computer, still functioning after millions of years. As they accessed its databases, Elena began to understand why humanity had been chosen. The precursors had seeded life throughout the galaxy, guiding evolution on countless worlds. But Earth was different. They had seen something unique in the primitive primates that would become human beings, a perfect balance of traits: intelligence and empathy, curiosity and caution, innovation and preservation, the capacity for both great creation and great destruction, tempered by an equally great capacity for love and understanding. "We chose them," the record stated, "because they remind us of what we once were, before power made us forget our hearts. They will face the same trials we did, but they will have what we did not: time to grow, to learn, to become ready." Elena's hands trembled as she accessed more files. The protection protocols around Earth weren't just defensive measures. They were training tools. Each alien species that discovered humanity and tried to interfere was actually being tested, their reactions to the barriers revealing their own level of development. The true test, the records continued, is not in trying to break the barriers, but in understanding why they exist. Those who respect the sanctity of natural development, who recognize the importance of letting a species grow at its own pace, they are the ones ready for the next stage of galactic civilization. In a sealed quantum vault, Elena found the final message, meant for humanity itself. "When you find this, you will have taken your first steps into space. Know that you are not alone, and never have been. We protected you not because you are weak, but because you are precious. In you, we see the potential to succeed where we failed, to achieve ultimate power while retaining ultimate compassion. The barriers will begin to fade as you grow ready. You will face challenges, but they will be ones you are prepared for. The galaxy holds wonders beyond imagination, but also responsibilities beyond measure. We chose you because we believe you will bear both with grace." As Elena prepared her report for the United Nations, she struggled to convey the weight of what they'd discovered. Humanity wasn't just another species in the cosmos. They were chosen inheritors of a legacy beyond comprehension. The mysterious phenomena that had protected Earth, the inexplicable technological leaps, the strange dreams that had inspired inventors and artists throughout history, all were part of the precursors' careful nurturing of humanity's potential. But with this knowledge came a profound question. Were they ready for the responsibility? As if anticipating this doubt, the final lines of the precursor records offered an answer. Do not fear your doubts. They are why we chose you. It is not certainty that makes a species great, but the wisdom to question, the courage to try, and the heart to care. You are our children, our hope and our future. The stars await you when you are ready to embrace them. The secrets buried on Mars would change humanity forever. But perhaps that was exactly what the precursors had intended all along. The emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council stretched into its third day. The revelation of the Mars ruins and humanity's designated role in the galaxy had sparked intense debate. Ambassador Sarah Chen watched the proceedings with growing concern as nation after nation argued about how to use this newfound knowledge. We should demand access to the protective technology, the Russian delegate insisted. If we are the chosen inheritors, then these defensive systems belong to us. And do what with it? Sarah finally spoke, her voice cutting through the clamor. Prove the precursors wrong about us by immediately weaponizing their gift. The chamber fell silent. On the massive screens behind her, data from the Mars facility scrolled alongside images of the mysterious barriers that had protected Earth for millennia. But it was the latest crisis that dominated the central display. A damaged alien ship belonging to the same Drachnid species that had once tried to invade Earth, now drifting at the edge of their solar system. We have a choice to make, Sarah continued. Not about power or technology, but about who we are as a species. The Drachnids are in distress. Their ship was damaged by a solar flare they couldn't predict. They need help. They tried to invade us. The American delegate protested. Yes, Sarah nodded. And now we can show them why the precursors chose us. Not because we're powerful, but because we can rise above past grievances when lives are at stake. The debate raged for hours more, but in the end, humanity made its choice. The newly commissioned Earth ship Prometheus departed for the edge of the solar system, loaded not with weapons, but with medical supplies and engineering crews. High Commander Kextel, now much older and wiser, watched in disbelief as the human vessel approached his crippled ship. His crew tensed, expecting revenge for their attempted invasion years ago. Instead, they heard a transmission in perfect Drachnid. This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Earth ship Prometheus. We've brought medical assistance and engineering support. Please let us know how we can help. The rescue operation lasted weeks. Human engineers worked alongside Drachnid technicians, repairing the massive ship. Doctors from both species shared knowledge as they treated the injured. Cultural barriers fell as the crews learned to work together. What no one noticed at first was that the ancient protective barriers around Earth were changing. They didn't disappear, but they became more selective, more nuanced. It was as if they were responding to humanity's choice, evolving from simple defenses into something more sophisticated. In the Mars facility, new messages began appearing in the quantum computer's database. The precursor systems were acknowledging humanity's first real test. By choosing compassion over vengeance, aid over advantage, they had proven something crucial about their species' character. But it was what happened next that truly demonstrated why humanity had been chosen. When the Drachnid ship was finally repaired, Kextal made an unexpected request. Our empire is facing a crisis, he admitted to the Earth delegation. A cascading failure in our primary energy systems threatens billions of lives across our worlds. We came to this sector not just for revenge, but desperately seeking solutions. He bowed his head. We do not deserve your help after our past actions, but I must ask for the sake of my people. The response came not just from Earth's leaders, but from thousands of scientists, engineers, and ordinary citizens who volunteered to help. Within months, joint human Drachnid teams were working to solve the Empire's energy crisis, developing new technologies that would benefit both species. The precursor's quantum computer recorded it all, adding new data to its ancient archives. First test of succession. Passed. The inheritors demonstrate capacity for forgiveness, dedication to preservation of life, and ability to transform enemies into allies. Proceeding to next phase of awakening. In her office at the UN, Sarah Chen received a private message from the Mars facility. New glyphs had appeared, showing a sequence of tests yet to come. Humanity's journey was just beginning, but they had taken their first steps toward proving the precursors' faith in them was well placed. The message ended with a simple statement: power without compassion is meaningless. You have shown you understand this fundamental truth. Continue. 5 years after the Drachnid rescue, Earth had changed beyond recognition. The sharing of knowledge between species had accelerated human development, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of weapons or power, humanity had focused on healing, both their own world and others. Dr. Elena Santos stood in the heart of the new Galactic Cooperation Center in Geneva, watching representatives from 30 different species file into the Grand Chamber. Above them, a holographic display showed the latest miracle: the successful restoration of a dying star in the Cygnus sector, saved by a combination of human theoretical physics and Drachnid engineering. "They're ready," whispered the quantum consciousness that had once been her eye assistant. Like much of Earth's technology, it had evolved beyond its original programming. Guided by fragments of precursor wisdom, the chamber's lights dimmed as Elena took the podium. The translation field hummed to life, ensuring every species would understand what came next. "Distinguished representatives of the galaxy," she began, "today we share something the precursors left for all of us." She nodded to her team, and the Mars facility's quantum computer projected its latest revelation. The image that filled the chamber left many aliens gasping. It showed the galaxy not as it was, but as it could be: a vast, interconnected web of thriving civilizations, transformed stars, and dimensional gateways. But it was the next revelation that truly shocked them. The precursors didn't choose humans to rule, Elena explained. They chose us to heal, to bring together, to remind everyone of something they discovered too late. The greatest power isn't in domination, but in cooperation. The quantum computer began sharing its most closely held secrets. The precursors hadn't just been advanced. They had discovered that consciousness itself was fundamental to the universe. Their great mistake was trying to control this power alone. The barriers around Earth weren't just defenses. They were incubators, nurturing humanity's capacity for collective wisdom. "Every species here has something unique to offer," Elena continued. "The Drachnid's determination, the Arxos' dedication to knowledge, the Vraxians' adaptability. Humans weren't chosen because we're special. We were chosen because we can see the special in everyone else." As if responding to her words, the ancient quantum computer began activating dormant systems throughout the galaxy. Dimensional gateways flickered to life, connecting civilizations that had been isolated for millennia. Dead worlds began showing signs of regeneration. Stars thought lost began to stabilize. But the greatest change was in the barriers around Earth. They didn't dissolve. They expanded, offering their protection to any species that joined in the new coalition. The precursors' final gift wasn't domination of the galaxy, but the tools to help it thrive. "We stand at a crossroads," Elena concluded, "not as rulers or subjects, but as partners. The precursors left us their power not to use it, but to show us we don't need it. Our real strength lies in what we can achieve together." In the years that followed, the galaxy transformed. The human capacity for innovation, combined with the unique strengths of other species, led to achievements the precursors themselves hadn't imagined. Dead worlds bloomed. Ancient conflicts resolved. The barriers that had once protected Earth became bridges, connecting civilizations in ways that transcended mere technology. And in the quantum substrate of spacetime, the last traces of the precursors stirred with satisfaction. Their long experiment had succeeded, not in creating a new supreme species, but in fostering something far more precious, a galaxy that had learned to protect and nurture itself. The final message they left in the Mars facility said it simply: "You were never meant to replace us. You were meant to show everyone, including us, a better way. The galaxy is in your collective care now. Make it what we couldn't." a home for all. Humanity had passed their final test, not by proving their superiority, but by refusing to claim it. In doing so, they had fulfilled the precursor's deepest hope, creating a future where no species need face the cosmos alone. The ancient promise was fulfilled, but the story was just beginning. The stars awaited, not with challenges to overcome, but with wonders to share together.